Hey guys, today I'm going to be providing a detailed comparison of LeBron James and Michael Jordan. Ever since LeBron entered the NBA, people have been obsessed over comparing him to Jordan. And ever since LeBron won his third championship in 2016 with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and of course I'm referring to the famous 3-1 comeback against the 7-3 win Golden State Warriors. And ever since that happened, the comparisons have been endless. And understandably so. I know that championship was a huge boost to LeBron's legacy. So I've decided to give my 2 cents on the comparison. I think there are plenty of ways to go about this comparison. First of all, most LeBron advocates like using the bigger, stronger, faster argument. Well, is LeBron bigger than Jordan? Well, duh. Is he stronger than Jordan? Well, size affects strength a lot more than it does power, so LeBron probably is stronger than what Jordan was. Is LeBron actually faster than Jordan? Well, I'm not so convinced about that. I think whenever someone mentions the word speed, there are plenty of things that need to be considered before determining who was faster. First of all, Jordan's first step was a lot faster than that of LeBron's, especially in a half-court setting. And I think if Jordan and LeBron were to race each other, the distance of the race would play a huge factor in determining who would win. In a 20-meter race, I think Jordan would win and win comprehensively. In a 50-meter race, I think that Jordan would still win, but it would be a hell of a lot closer. In a 100-meter race, I'm not sure who would win. I think that's a toss-up. So I'm not convinced that LeBron is actually faster than Jordan. And Jordan's lateral quickness was far superior to that of LeBron. I think LeBron's lateral quickness, or lack thereof, is his biggest weakness as a defensive player. Well, apart from his lack of effort at times, there are times where he just abandons his defense, so I don't really get that, but and overall, I'd still give LeBron a slight edge in terms of their athletic abilities. I think the gap between their athletic abilities is a hell of a lot closer than the gap between their skill sets as basketball players. Jordan's game was esoteric. His game was cerebral. He was virtually flawless. Well, apart from maybe 3-point shooting, he wasn't a good 3-point shooter. That was the only flaw in his game. Well, what about LeBron? Is his game flawless? Not even close. He has quite a few flaws in his game, quite a few limitations. LeBron has never had a reliable post game. He has never had a reliable mid-range game. His offensive arsenal overall is extremely limited. He's only got 2 legitimate go-to moves: a turnaround jump shot and a spin move. That's it, basically. And he has never been able to develop a consistent off-ball game. And his footwork has always been mediocre. He's also not a good free throw shooter. And he's a very inconsistent defender, or has been for the majority of his career. So let's compare the skill sets. What is LeBron better at? I think he is a better passer than Jordan, a slightly better passer. I think that he has slightly better court vision, and I think that he's a better 3-point shooter. That's it, basically. Most people like to say that LeBron's a better rebounder than Jordan, based on the rebounding averages. For LeBron averages 1 more rebound per game than Jordan. Well, I think that completely lacks context. If you closely watch LeBron play, you'd realize that most of his rebounds are uncontested rebounds that are a result of him backing off on defense. He doesn't really box out much. He's not a very good fundamental rebounder. And that shows up in the fact that Jordan actually averaged more offensive rebounds than LeBron did in his career, or has in his career. Jordan averaged 1.6 offensive rebounds per game. LeBron averages 1.2 offensive rebounds per game. So Jordan actually averages zero point 0.4 offensive rebounds per game despite being a couple of inches shorter. Well, and I think that proves that Jordan had better rebounding fundamentals. Overall, I'd say that the rebound is pretty even. I can't give a decisive edge to either one. And what was Jordan better at? Well, Jordan's post game was far superior to that of LeBron. His mid-range game was far superior to that of LeBron. His footwork was far superior to that of LeBron. His off-ball game was far more consistent, far more developed. He was also a much better free throw shooter. And his offensive arsenal was far deeper than that of LeBron. He had way more moves and counter moves. He was also a far more consistent defender. And in the above categories that I've mentioned, Jordan doesn't just beat LeBron, he obliterates LeBron. Since these categories represent some of Jordan's biggest strengths as a player and some of LeBron's limitations as a player. And LeBron fans like to say that he is a more complete player than Jordan, based on the fact that he averages more assists and rebounds. Well, how the hell is he a better all-round player than Jordan or a more complete player than Jordan when he has way more flaws in his game? LeBron is not a better all-round player or a more complete player than Jordan. And for those who still want to say that LeBron averages more assists and rebounds than Jordan, you guys need to consider the fact that LeBron and Jordan played completely different roles in the offenses of the respective teams that both have played for. LeBron has been the de facto point guard on all the teams that he's played for. Point forward, I beg your pardon. A point forward is basically a small forward or a power forward who also plays the role of a point guard for his offense. And LeBron, for the entire duration of his career, he has been the initiator of the offense. Everything has always gone through him. He dictates everything that happens on the offensive end. Whereas Jordan was someone who had to give up his ball handling skills and let Scottie Pippen play the role of point forward. In fact, Jordan was actually asked to play the point guard position for the last 24 games of the 1988-89 regular season. And in those 24 games, Jordan averaged 30, 10, and 9. Basically 30 points, 10 assists, and 9 rebounds per game. And he averaged 32, 8, and 8 for the season overall. And I feel like anyone who's ever closely watched Jordan play would know that he had natural point guard skills. Hence, I have no doubt that Jordan could consistently do what LeBron does. Now, could LeBron do what Jordan did consistently? Well, I don't think so, because his skill set is way too limited. While LeBron is a great scorer, due to the limitations in his skill set, he hasn't been able to take over games to scoring with the same level of consistency as guys like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Kevin Durant. And, LeBron is someone who's been extremely reliant on getting easy buckets in the flow of an offense. And there are guys when the play/offense breaks down and you need someone to bail you out with dynamic shot making, there are guys that you go to. LeBron is not one of those guys. The limitations in the game start showing up. LeBron is simply not the guy you go to when the offense breaks down and there's only 5 seconds left on the shot clock. You need someone to bail you out with dynamic shot making. LeBron is simply not that guy. What LeBron usually does in those situations is that he dribble drives and dishes up to a role player. And he's also had guys like Dwayne Wade and Kyrie Irving who reveled in those situations. So hopefully, the last point that I've made debunks the notion that or the narrative that LeBron does everything for his team when he clearly doesn't. Parents have concluded that LeBron James is not on the same level as guys like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Kevin Durant as it pertains to overall scoring prowess. Jordan was the bailout guy on his team. Kobe was the bailout guy on his team. Kevin Durant is the bailout guy on his team. LeBron ain't that guy. And hence, I don't think that LeBron could have consistently done what Jordan did. And I think that Jordan performed his role in the offense at a higher level than LeBron in his role. I also feel like we need to discuss how both applied their respective skill sets. In my opinion, Jordan's application of his skill set was far more conducive to winning than LeBron's application of his skill set. And Jordan's ability to play off the ball, as I've already mentioned before, allowed Scottie Pippen to play the role of point forward. And he flourished in that role. And Jordan's off-ball game also allowed him to fit perfectly into the triangle offense. And the triangle offense helped maximize the potential of his teammates. And therefore, Jordan's teams were generally more successful than LeBron's team. LeBron's reliance on having the ball in his hands has generally limited the effectiveness of the supporting cast. Guys like Chris Bosh and Kevin Love were forced to completely change their games, and it affected their effectiveness in a big way. Both Chris Bosh and Kevin Love were forced to become spot-up shooters, and that was not their cup of tea. Kevin Love averaged 26 points and 15 rebounds in the season before he joined LeBron and the Cavaliers. And after joining LeBron and the Cavaliers, his role completely changed and he was extremely ineffective in the playoffs. Put that on LeBron. When you're the star player, when you're the leader of the team, you need to find a way to adjust your game so that those who are less gifted than you are able to flourish in their roles. But LeBron has never been able to do that. He has never been willing to do that. When David Blatt was coaching Cleveland and tried to implement the Princeton offense, LeBron ran him out of town. He ran him out of town. He got him fired. The Princeton offense was supposed to take the ball out of LeBron's hands. And he didn't want that. He didn't want to sacrifice his assist numbers. Jordan basically did more with less. Jordan only played with one other player who was capable of being the best player on another team, and that was Scottie Pippen. LeBron has played with 5 such players. Dwayne Wade was the best player on the Miami Heat before LeBron joined him, teamed up with him. Chris Bosh was the best player on the Toronto Raptors before he joined LeBron and D. Wade. Kevin Love was the best player in Minnesota before he teamed up with LeBron and Kyrie was the best player on the Celtics after he split from LeBron and the Cavaliers. He's also played with Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis was the best player on the New Orleans Pelicans before he joined LeBron's Lakers. So LeBron has played with more superstar talent and has played on more talented teams than Jordan did, but he still hasn't been able to garner the same type of team success that Jordan did. Jordan did more with less, and he also did it while facing much tougher playoff competition. LeBron has faced tougher finals competition, but Jordan definitely faced tougher playoff competition. When Jordan played, the Eastern Conference was loaded. It was brutal. In the late 80s, Jordan had to go up against the Boston Celtics dynasty, with guys like Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Danny Ainge, Robert Parrish, Dennis Johnson, and Bill Walton. And he had to go up against those guys while playing with a bunch of cocaine addicts. Jordan also had to battle through the Detroit Pistons. And the Detroit Pistons were hell-bent on knocking Jordan down on his ass every single time he attacked the rim. They played an extremely physical style of basketball. They were the thugs of the NBA. And after Jordan got past them, Jordan had to face the New York Knicks in the early to mid-90s. And the New York Knicks were equally physical as the Detroit Pistons were. And they had a bunch of tough dudes. They had Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason, Xavier McDaniel, John Starks, and Xavier McDaniel were the guys who were usually tasked with guarding Michael Jordan. And Jordan destroyed those guys, torched them, despite the great defense that they played on. And in my opinion, the 1992 New York Knicks were the greatest perimeter defensive team of all time. And Jordan dismantled them. Jordan also had to face the Orlando Magic with a young Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway. And for those who don't know who Penny Hardaway is, Penny Hardaway was an extremely talented player. He was extremely gifted, but injuries severely affected his career trajectory. And had he not gotten injured so often, he probably would have become an all-time great. Jordan swept them in the 1996 Eastern Conference Finals. Absolutely destroyed them. Jordan also had to go up against the Indiana Pacers, led by Reggie Miller. In fact, in the 1998 Eastern Conference Finals, the Pacers took the Bulls to 7 games. It was an extremely hard-fought series. The Bulls managed to get past them. And if you do your research into the teams that I'm talking about, you'll definitely understand that Jordan faced much tougher playoff competition. LeBron has been able to take walk to the East for most of his career, and still hasn't been as successful as Jordan as it pertains to overall team success. Despite having more talent, despite having played on more talented teams, and having faced weaker competition. So in conclusion, while LeBron gets a slight edge on athleticism, Jordan's skill set was far more polished, and his application of his skill set was more conducive to winning than LeBron's application of his skill set. And his teams were more successful than LeBron's teams, despite not being as talented and despite facing tougher playoff competition. Therefore, I conclude that Jordan was the superior player of the two, and it's not even all that close. And listen, LeBron's an incredible player, a certified top 10 player of all time, but placing him on the same pedestal as Michael Jordan is blasphemous, asinine, and disrespectful to the game of basketball. Again, that's just my opinion. In my opinion, the only two guys who can be placed on the same plateau/pedestal as Jordan are Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Wilt Chamberlain. That's it. Those three are on a separate level of their own. They are the cream of the crop. And I don't think that LeBron is on their level. I don't think it's in the realm of possibility for LeBron to ever reach that level. And I think that the real question should be, is LeBron better than guys like Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant, and Tim Duncan? And I don't get how he gets to leapfrog those guys. I think it's extremely disrespectful. But then again, the LeBron GOAT narrative has never been factual. It's just a rebellion against the older generation. That's all I've got to say on this topic. So that's the end of this video. For more content like this, please like and subscribe to my channel. Adios.